All right, let's dive right in.
Uh,
Today, we're looking at something pretty intense, a raw transcript from a real incident filmed inside a Target.
yeah, it's quite the scene.
Our mission really is to pick apart this conversation, the whole sequence of events around this alleged shoplifting, and see what we can, pull out from the dialogue itself.
Mm-hmm.
What grabbed me immediately, and I think it'll grab you too, is just the amount of time this person spent inside the store. We're talking hours,
A really long time.
and the amount of stuff she gathered. Then this dramatic confrontation happens, and you just see these completely different views colliding.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating snapshot.
So, okay, let's unpack this. What happens when what looks like a normal shopping trip sort of spirals into this complex legal thing, this human drama, all caught word for word?
It really shows how fast things can escalate, especially, when people have totally different ideas about the rules and what they intended to do. We're going to focus on the exact words used because they really map out how things went down.
Okay, so to really get this, we need to start with those hours before the confrontation. Anaya, the individual involved, she was in the store for, well, an incredibly long time.
Yeah, the transcript says about 7 hours or so. 7 hours.
Wow. And security had eyes on her for a good chunk of that.
For at least 4 hours, according to the document. So yeah, a significant period of observation.
That alone, 7 hours, I mean, that's not your typical Target run, right?
Not at all. That's a huge red flag for any loss prevention team.
Yeah.
And they detailed what she's doing. She had taken a ton of merchandise, different kinds, and was putting it all into these big 3 reusable bags.
Okay, so lots of stuff, long time in the store. But what specific actions, like before she even tried to leave, would have set off alarm bells for security?
Well, it was her behavior near the exit that was particularly strange. They noted she kept getting really close to the door, then she'd just stand there.
Doing what?
Apparently, she was on her phone, like she'd send her phone about 3 times, is how they put it. Then, instead of leaving, she'd turn around and go back into the store to shop more.
And she did this repeatedly.
Yeah, this pattern repeated. It suggests maybe some hesitation. Or like she was testing the waters, perhaps. And another detail, small but maybe important, she brought an empty personal luggage bag into the store with her.
Ah, okay. So that could suggest she planned on taking a lot from the start.
It certainly points in that direction, yeah.
So, okay, hours pass, she's got the bag, she's doing this weird back and forth near the door. Then the confrontation happens. Where exactly did they stop her?
Security states they apprehended her after she passed the first set of doors, the ones leading out of the main store floor, and entered the vestibule area.
Right, that space between the 2 sets of doors.
Exactly. But crucially, before she passed the second set of doors and got fully outside.
And that location matters legally, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's often considered the threshold for theft in retail, passing the last point where you could have paid.
So what was her immediate reaction when they stopped her?
Instant panic, it sounds like. A desperate plea. Please don't do that. Don't resist. It's not going to go well for you. That last part might have been security speaking, actually, warning her.
Okay.
But what she said, instantly and repeatedly, was an offer to pay. I don't mind paying for the merchandise.
Right. And amidst these pleas, there's this one line that just jumps out. She says, "I'm working on a treaty right now."
Yeah. That one's, confusing, to say the least. A treaty. It has a layer of strangeness to the whole thing.
Definitely. And meanwhile, the value of the merchandise keeps getting mentioned, and it's climbing. First, security says it's more than $300. Then later, well over $500. And finally, when they actually stop her, they confirm it's $1,300 worth of stuff.
And they even threw out a number like $4,000 in total tags they found later, suggesting maybe even more was involved or considered at some point.
Wow. So that offer to pay, the weird treaty comment, it feels like you immediately see 2 different realities colliding.
That's exactly it. From her perspective, maybe she thought, okay, I got caught close to the door, but if I just pay, it's fine. But for security, with $1,300 worth of goods past the registers, the line was already crossed.
Which brings us right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This massive gap between what she said she intended, her subjective view, and the cold, hard legal definition of theft.
Precisely. She kept insisting I was still planning to pay for it. And she argued about her location, saying I didn't pass the double doors or not even completely past that first set, trying to argue she hadn't actually left yet.
And she had an explanation for being near the door with all the bags.
She did. She claimed she was on a call, apparently, with people who told her to walk past the last point of all the cash registers with the security things, presumably the security sensors for something called gifting.
Gifting. That
Yeah.
sounds...
It sounds like a very strange justification, especially in that context, but it shows her attempt to rationalize why she was where she was with unpaid merchandise.
Right. And she even tried the practicality argument, like, how would I even run with bags? It's humanly impossible, as if that negates the intent or the act itself.
Mm-hmm. And then she brings up her identity, says she's from India, visiting, doesn't have ID on her.
Oh.
Yeah, though later she offers a license with the name Jamisha, but says Anaya is her name also, so a bit confusing there too. But her core beliefs seem to be, just let me pay. The best thing was to pay and finish it.
But security wasn't buying any of it. How did they respond to her offers to pay?
Flat rejection. Phrases like, that's not happening, we lost that opportunity, and very clearly, we're way, way, way past that.
So no going back in their eyes.
None. They spelled out their position. When you take things without permission, that's a crime. And specifically, pushing that cart, those bags, past all of the cash registers, past the last point of final sale, without paying, that is the crime.
And they made it clear what was coming next.
Oh, yeah. They stated their intent to prosecute the retail and trespass. Full stop.
What about her claim of being a visitor from India? Did that sway them at all?
Nope. Security's response was pretty direct. A lot of people who aren't from this country but still have stuff, meaning IDs or documentation, presumably.
Okay.
And they made the point, you're not allowed to steal in India either, kind of shutting down that line of reasoning.
Ouch. So they basically said, doesn't matter where you're from, theft is theft.
Pretty much. And they put the blame squarely on her. The best thing to do would be not to steal in the first place. They even mentioned specific charge codes like 6041641, indicating they knew exactly what legal path they were heading down.
It really highlights this communication breakdown, doesn't it? She seems to think her intent afterwards matters most, or that paying can undo it.
Exactly. She's operating under one set of assumptions, maybe cultural, maybe personal, but security is operating under a strict legal framework. For them, the action itself, passing that point of sale, is what matters. Her explanations, her pleas, her offer to pay after being caught, they just don't compute within that framework.
And then, amidst this legal back and forth, you really see the human cost kicking in.
Yeah.
The transcript shows her getting increasingly upset.
You see the desperation mount, repeated pleas of, please don't, saying, I'm really sorry, and expressing this deep worry about shame. It's going to be very embarrassing.
Yeah, she starts talking about the consequences,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do I tell the family people?
Mm-hmm. And she mentions her daughter. I have a daughter who's 20. You can feel her thinking about the ripple effect.
She even sounds scared about what will happen immediately, asking if they'll keep me forever or something.
Right. A kind of naive fear, perhaps, but real for her. Security does reassure her on that specific point, saying, no, we're not going to keep you forever.
But reassurance only went so far. They didn't back down on the main issue because of her distress.
Not at all. They stayed firm. One line really sums it up.
Wow.
You made lots of poor choices today, and now you have to pay for those.
Wow. Pretty blunt.
And when she pleaded for help, the response was just as blunt, why would I help you? It sounds harsh, but it reflects their position. She created the situation.
And they laid out the next steps pretty clearly.
Yes. Going to the police station, being criminally charged. They estimated the processing time at the station might be 1, maybe 2 hours. Practical, procedural information.
And the advice was just deal with it later.
Basically, yeah. You'll need to call somebody later when we're done with all the paperwork.
Yeah.
It really shows that once that process starts, the human element, the pleas, they don't stop the train. It's moving down the track.
It is a really tough dynamic.
Yeah.
You got the store's need to prevent theft, the legal process, and then this individual facing, potentially life-changing trouble.
It is tough. And the transcript just lays that tension bare. Security isn't there to be therapists or social workers in that moment. Their job is to follow procedure once they believe a crime has been committed, according to the store's policy and the law.
So the objective legal line gets crossed, and the system takes over. Her subjective feelings or intentions at that point become almost irrelevant to the immediate process.
That's a good way to put it. Irrelevant to the process, even if they're deeply relevant to her experience.
So, okay, we've walked through the whole thing from the hours inside to the finality of the charges. When you put it all together, what's the core takeaway here about, intent versus reality in these situations?
I think this transcript is a powerful illustration of that exact conflict. You have her subjective reality. Maybe she genuinely felt she hadn't fully committed until she was outside. Maybe she truly believed paying late would fix it. But that clashes hard with the objective legal reality,
Which is,
which is defined by actions, not necessarily intent, especially post-action intent. Passing the last point of final sale with unpaid goods is the act defined as theft in retail law, generally speaking. That's the line. Once it's crossed, offering to pay after being caught doesn't rewind the clock legally.
so her attempts to explain or fix it after being stopped actually just confirmed she knew she had the unpaid merchandise past the payment points.
In a way, yes. It tragically highlights how her desperate efforts to manage the situation or explain it away might have actually cemented the legal case against her rather than mitigating it.
It's just such a clear picture of that tension, someone trying desperately to backtrack or fix something, colliding with a system that says, nope, that moment is past, we're now in a different phase, the consequences are already in motion.
Exactly. This deep dive really reveals how a series of choices, maybe some poor judgment, combined with what seems like a fundamental misunderstanding or perhaps disregard of clear legal boundaries, can escalate incredibly fast into a serious criminal situation.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah. What does this tell you, really, about how crucial it is to understand the actual rules, the objective lines in public spaces like stores? And maybe more importantly, what does it say about the consequences, which can be quite unwavering when those lines are crossed, regardless of what you thought you were doing or what you wished you could do after the fact?